Alrighty. Hello and welcome to the Omnic Fallout, and we are your hosts, Uyedge, and this is Nymphadora.
Hi.
We're going to be discussing Overwatch news and everything Blizzard and whatever catches our fancy this week. Today's podcast name is No Currywurst in the Van, Reinhardt. We're going to be, of course, talking about Reinhardt, news around him, strategies, and anything to just basically do with him. But first, we're going to start with the news. Go ahead, Nymphadora.
Well, do you want to talk about what you have actually done this past week, as we wait for Overwatch to come in?
Well, basically, I've just been playing whatever games that I've been meaning to get to for the past, however long. First, I started with my massive Steam library, and I sat down and looked, and I was like, well, what have I not played? And I decided to play Wolfenstein: The New Order, just because basically we're going to be playing it. I don't know my reasoning behind it. I thought it was a good game, though. If you haven't played Wolfenstein: The New Order, basically the premises of it is if Nazi Germany won and the resistance that took up behind it, and everyone is trying to basically overthrow the war's over, but the new Nazi government has taken over the world. So it's really fun. Alternate history has always been intriguing to me. So if you're interested in that at all, I'd recommend checking it out. What have you been doing?
Actually, well, I've been getting ready for a vacation, which starts tomorrow, and I'm ready for that.
Okay.
But after we did our McCree podcast last week, I decided to go play Red Dead Redemption since I couldn't play Overwatch. So I've been playing Red Dead Redemption for the last week because, well, you know, I beat it 100 times, and yet it's still fun to me.
Hey, there's worse ways to spend your time. I tried playing a bunch of Blizzard games, but I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna wait, just kind of hold off and wait for Overwatch. The Overwatch event happens this weekend, so I'm excited about that. I'm going on Sunday, so that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that'll be really, really fun. We actually have some stuff about that in the news today, so that'll be really exciting.
Go ahead and start us off on it.
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to address is the cheating issue. Blizzard has put out there have actually been several articles now, along with their forums, talking about the cheating scandal, or not the cheating scandal, talking about how cheating is going to be unacceptable in the game, and how they're basically going to put down the ban hammer as soon as, you know, anything happens. So with that being said, you know,
it's going to be anything like first attempt cheating. They're not going to have any leniency on you. They're going to ban your account. So if you have any interest in continuing playing this game, and you're going to go ahead and plop down $50 to $60 on this game, I think 40 for the standard edition.
Yeah.
You don't really want to just go ahead and start cheating, because it's not like TF2 or even CSGO. I know CSGO is you have to pay to get in, but it's a lot cheaper. I mean, you don't want to just start doing that just because. I mean, they're gonna catch up with you pretty quick. From what I understand, they're putting their esports community together really quick, and they're getting around to figuring out the newest cheats and everything, and they're gonna come down on you hard and quick.
Yeah, I think you know, you're gonna have some false bans. So if you do run into that, where, like, you know, you get banned for something even though you're not being banned, even though you're not cheating, sorry, you're just gonna have to go through their mod stuff and go through, you know, just your basic things saying, hey, I didn't do it. But there's a link to how to report cheating, which is basically email Blizzard at hacks@blizzard.com.
Oh, sorry. I was going to address the question we had. Uh,
Uh which episode? Episode 2? Oh, Chumbawamba um last week we did an episode featuring McCree, and we talked about the beta, so you haven't missed that much. And
and the basic cheats that they're talking about are basically, yeah, what you're saying, wall hacks and aimbot. Yeah, I mean, Ultimate for
yeah,
Soldier 76 essentially is aimbot, but what they're gonna be doing is like, say you're just getting headshot after headshot after headshot instantly with quick succession and never any missing. They're gonna be checking for any programs that are running in the background or at the same time as Overwatch, basically. You know, your basic anti-cheat technology that we've seen in online gaming for years and years. But I'm guessing they're going to cater it more towards Overwatch, and they're going to be catering it more towards those specific types of programs.
right. And I think the reason why they are coming out before Overwatch actually launches for this is because of the cheating scandals that have happened in Heroes of the Storm, because of the esports stuff. They want it to be fair. They want, because there was a lot of fiasco that happened in Heroes of the Storm, like Heroes of the Dorm, this year. Like Harvard was account sharing, which is, you know, terms of service. They were these are supposed to be some of the most intelligent people in the world, and yet they decided to cheat, which is something simple, but it doesn't it's not a fair playing field for the rest of the world when you do that. And apparently Arizona's team, which they won, there was some stuff surrounding them because I can't remember his name, but the lead, do you remember the guy's name?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
The guy who registered online classes.
Yeah, he registered in online classes, but never went to class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got away with being a part of Arizona's team. So,
not to also mention all the gambling and gambling fraud that was going on in Korea a couple months back with Life, which is one of the biggest StarCraft players in the world, being banned for life and arrested just for throwing games in the pro scene for money, basically, because of the gambling that takes on. I mean, that's something we won't really see in the U.S. so much because gambling on sports and gambling on gaming is kind of a thing that is frowned upon over here. I mean, it does happen, but not to the same extent over there in Korea because it is legal and it happens quite a bit.
Right, and there's a lot of legal precedent that comes with it. You know, when Overwatch launches, the competitive mode will not be launching with Overwatch because they're still working on it. There's apparently some issues with the gameplay and how it's set up, so they decided to just nix it for the launch, and they're going to launch it at a later date because they want competitive to be fair and all that stuff. So I actually find that really interesting that they're addressing the cheating now before later, and I think a lot of that is because of the Heroes of the Storm stuff, because esports is becoming such a huge thing. And to move from there, Blizzard and Twitch, this just came out about 2 hours before the podcast tonight. Last week in it was a Hearthstone. It was DreamHack Austin. It was a Hearthstone tournament. There was a African American player who was harassed with very, very racist comments, and it pissed Blizzard off to the point where they basically said, "Hey, Twitch, we need to fix this. We need to stop this. This is not okay. We're not okay with all of the people." It created an issue where their mods couldn't handle the amount of chat going on in there, and they had like 10 to 15 mods in there, and they couldn't keep up with getting rid of the racist comments and the harassing. So I find it interesting that Blizzard is taking the initiative to say, "Hey, Twitch, let's fix this issue." I don't know that you can really fix that. I don't know that you can do anything to trolls other than ban them. But I find it interesting that they're actually addressing it and acknowledging that it exists.
Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that you're always going to see in events like this, especially events that are streamed over Twitch or anything to that nature. There's always going to be online harassment, and I mean, as hard as it is to say, the people that are being parts of these streams, and not necessarily the people that are going to tournaments and things like that, but the people that are streamers themselves have gained thick skins and they understand what comes with streaming on a platform such as Twitch. You're gonna have your trolls, you're gonna have your people out there that are just gonna go out there to get a reaction out of you. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and there's nothing I see in the foreseeable future ever changing about that. The only thing that we can do is essentially take use of the bots that we can implement on Twitch to automatically ban anybody who uses certain words, or use chat filters to ban certain words. Of course, people are going to find a way around that, and they always do, but we try what we can, and we do what we can. There's only so much that they can do, unfortunately, because Twitch is a free service. I mean, you can pay for certain subscription models with them, and that does limit the way you can chat and everything. And some people, some chats, you can't even chat in unless you are part of subscription with them, which that could also be a way to gate people out of it. But as long as there's a free chat with them, there's always going to be comments like that in there, because you can ban them, then they're just going to come back on another account. You can IP ban them, they're just going to come back on another internet connection or another computer.
I want to address a question that was asked in chat. Have they released any information on how competitive mode will work? No, I actually looked up some research on that today, for the last 3 days. I've been trying to find anything, and I haven't found much as far as competitive mode. All I found was what they attempted to do, they didn't like, so they decided to just take it out and try something else. So I don't know.
What I speculate we're probably going to get is the same kind of ladder system that we have in StarCraft, and now that we're going to have soon in Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. I really hope it's not as bad as the initial Heroes of the Storm one and the initial Hearthstone one. I hope they take some more time to refine it, which is seeming what they're going to do. And hopefully it doesn't take as long as it took to get the Heroes of the Storm, because we're still in the preseason Heroes of the Storm, which, I mean, it's coming to an end soon, supposedly. Soon, TM. But, it's taken so long to get to this point. And I understand that it takes a lot of time to put that much infrastructure together and plan everything and make sure that it can't be abused. But if it takes that long to get competitive play into Overwatch, this game's going to flop, and it's going to flop hard after 3 months. It's the same kind of thing that happens to any game that tries to get into a pro scene, but they don't have the backing for it straight off the bat.
Yeah, I hope they don't take too long for the competitive mode. Because I agree with you on that. I do think that if they take too long, it will. Because I mean, that's initially why a lot of people want to do this, because it's really easy to get competitive in that game.
I mean, it's an extremely fun game, and you can have so much time just spent in doing the normal level up stuff, or just doing basic custom matches where you can edit the rules to do whatever you want to do with it, and it's a lot of fun. And I mean, but after a while, you're going to get the people that have that competitive itch, and they want to progress further in that game in a different way than just prestiging and leveling. So I mean, we're going to get to that point. I know we're going to get it. From what I hear, it sounds like maybe a month or 2 is like the window for most people. So, I mean, if they don't have it between then, I can see a bunch of problems arising.
But you want to go to the next thing?
Yeah, we can go to the next thing. That's what I was about to do. The biggest beta ever was basically what we had. I mean, they basically kind of pushed for it cheekily. Like, they didn't what they did was they let it go for another day so they could hit that limit, which I don't blame them. If you're going to get close to hitting that, why not go for it? They got 9 million people playing the beta in that open beta. That is the largest beta that anyone has ever seen. So that
Yeah.
means that just foreshadows how big this game is actually going to be. Do I think we're gonna have 9 million people playing this game right off the bat? No, that's a little bit too much wishful thinking, I would believe,
Well,
but
you
we are
gotta
gonna definitely have a lot of people playing
take
this
into
game.
account the people that were double dipping, the people that were playing on the console and on the computer. So I think it was just accounts. It wasn't actual individuals. So, but I don't know.
But still, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's still a lot, especially for Blizzard with its WoW subscriptions, going down.
And they said they said that the average time played on accounts over all of the accounts was 8 hours of playtime. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
8 hours of playtime over that much. I mean, just a week. And yes, a week is a lot of time, but 8 hours for a beta. But I mean, it was a really good beta. It came out strong. The only thing that it didn't have was competitive play, which I mean I can understand for not having that in the beta, but hopefully they have it at launch.
I think I think it was smart on their part because I know so many people who played it and were like, "Yeah, I'm buying this game," and they bought it right then because they got access to the open beta and got to play. So I think it was a really brilliant marketing decision on Blizzard's part.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, as we all know, the Coca-Cola event with the Overwatch cinematics is coming up on Sunday. And supposedly there is a rumor that there will be a new video debuting for Soldier 76. I can English. For Soldier 76. I don't know anything about it. Nothing has been confirmed, but there are rumors flying around everywhere on Twitter, on Facebook, on other various news sources that a Soldier 76 video is coming. So that'll be interesting if that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. I really do. I really do hope it, because if not, that Coca-Cola event that I'm going to on Sunday is going to be extremely boring. I mean, it's going to be exciting because it's an event, but it's going to be extremely boring to sit there and watch all the same cinematics with nothing new. Hopefully, what I'm hoping is they're going to have developer talks. They're going to have that new video. I think I heard, I'm pretty sure I read on the website that they're going to have giveaways and stuff of that nature. So it's going to be interesting.
I want to address chat really quick. Can we keep the political discussions down to a minimum? This is an Overwatch podcast. So, all right, physical copies of Overwatch.
Yeah, the physical copies, they're going to be arriving a day early at Best Buy and GameStop, which is very interesting because that's the first time I've ever seen a copies being able to grab early, especially for a game like this. I mean, it's not something that happens. You never really hear about it getting an early before the day early before the servers go, so people can just right when the servers come online, they're already ready to go. I find that really interesting. As far as I know, I've never heard of that happening.
There is an article. I've seen a couple of articles now since this first one came out. That they're actually going to launch the servers a day early. They're actually going to launch the servers on the 23rd.
Which will be interesting as well. So that just means they're upping the release date a day early?
Yeah. I find that really interesting, which, I mean, correlates with the fact that you can buy the physical copy a day early. But, the beta, if you think about it, the early access beta, for those of us who pre-purchased, was accessible a day early, and so was the open beta. It was accessible a day early, and then they extended it a whole day. So it wouldn't surprise me if the launch day was open a day early, just because of the way they did the open beta.
I'm hoping so because I want to get into that game right now already. But I mean, if it does launch early, that's just gonna be awesome. That just means more Overwatch time.
Yeah, really. Which I'm really excited about. So
Do you want to talk about the new comic that may not be coming in a week or so?
yeah, so on Monday the 16th, a sneak peek was released for the new comic, which is going to be about Farah. So they didn't really release a whole lot. It was mostly artwork and just a little bit of her background, which she was basically a soldier in Egypt. That's pretty much all you get from that sneak peek.
From what I understand, I think she was part of a special securities force as also like at some point. I don't know. I need to look more into her lore since we haven't got around to her episode yet. I haven't really dove too deep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't know when the comic is coming out. They didn't allude to when it was coming out. They just gave us a sneak peek. So to answer the question, Chumbawamba in chat, yes, new comic is coming out. No, I don't know when it's going to be.
I would imagine it would probably be the same day as the Coca-Cola event. That sounds like they're gonna have a lot of stuff lined up for that.
I
That's what
could
it's
see that.
feeling like.
I could see that.
Be awesome if we got physical copies of the comics eventually too. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. I'd like to have that in my comic book
I see
collection.
that happening. That has to happen, right?
They're beautiful. They're beautifully drawn. Like, it would be really great to have a physical copy.
And a lot of them were teamed up with DeviantArt and everything to get it done. So it's pretty cool. So basically, we got our new video this week as well. We got Hanzo v Genji. Basically, it was a very interesting video, and I just I love the animation style of Blizzard. I always have, and that video was extremely beautiful. It just every time they release a video, it just seems like their animation style gets better and better just by balance. It's ridiculous. You go look at like the original World of Warcraft cinematic, some of the original Warcraft 3 cinematics, and they still hold up to this day.
They do.
It's ridiculous.
There's a reason why I would like to work for Blizzard's animation department. Yeah.
So we had Hanzo and basically was going back to Hanamura to talk with not to talk but to honor his brother Genji, who he to his belief killed a few years back and was banned from I think the Shinamura clan, I think was the name of their clan. But basically he's not supposed to be there, and he takes out a bunch of the guards and goes to the sword he used to slay Genji and basically does traditional honoring and everything, and Genji attacks him and etc etc, and they're both alluded to be recruited to Overwatch. So that was a pretty good video. Anyway, I just wanted to give a quick description.
Yeah. We are on Twitter and Facebook. Oh, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on Twitter.
We do have a Facebook page, but it is not set up yet. It is a husk and a shell of what it'll eventually be.
Yeah, we are still working on all of that stuff.
We still got to get logos, and cover art, and et cetera, so
yeah.
give us time. Hopefully we'll be able to get it set up soon.
Yeah, so...
Are we on Instagram? Snapchat? No, not yet.
I actually just realized that my Knifebot commands are still on my personal Nightbot commands.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Let me change this. There we go. No. There we go. All right.
But do you want to go ahead and talk about that leak that happened on the PlayStation Network?
Yeah, so PlayStation Network, someone leaked, I'm going to put that in quotes because I'm pretty sure they leaked it on purpose. But the trophy list for Overwatch competitive mode has been leaked, and they have only one gold that is available and one platinum, and the rest of them are silver and bronze. So you essentially have to be really good to get that gold and platinum. You have to be good just to be able to get a silver.
I'm really thinking about this. Makes me actually want to play this on PlayStation eventually as well, because just to get the trophies for it sounds amazing. I'm an achievement. I love
Achievement
achievements.
whore.
Just yeah, I was gonna not say whore.
Yeah, so that I think that's really cool, but I find that wow, man, like PlayStation's being hard on their achievements and stuff. Like the gold is you have to win 100 games in quick or competitive play, which
When you think about it, it's not that bad.
that's not too bad. I mean, you could do that easily, especially if you have a good group of friends that you're playing with.
Even if you're just solo queuing, eventually you'll get there. Like honestly, when we were playing the beta, like 300 games went by like that. It was nothing. It honestly went by too quick. Once you get like one friend or two friends just sitting there playing with you, you can melt through games really fast.
Yeah. What was it? We played for 10 hours in the beta one night.
Yeah, and one night, not
One night.
overall. One night we stayed up for 10 hours. Not to mention that I had been playing that game for 6 hours before that 10-hour sprint.
Oh, that was great.
So that was like a 16-hour Overwatch day for me.
Oh god, yeah.
But the only thing that sucked about that 10-hour play that we did is because we were all doing it in custom matches, so you didn't get any experience, so our levels don't reflect it.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's going to be reset anyway because of launch.
Yeah.
So,
It was really good though.
So, all right. Let's go through some other Blizzard news really quick because some really cool stuff has come out for WoW.
Yeah, recently they finally announced the World of Warcraft movie rewards. So they're teaming up with Regal Crown. If you're a Regal Crown Club member, you can pre-order your ticket to go see the Warcraft movie at your local cinema or Regal Cinema. It has to be Regal. And if you do so, you get one free month of WoW and one starter edition of WoW. For free as long as supplies last. So basically, if you have a friend that you want to play WoW with you and they're just kind of hesitant on jumping, this would be the perfect way. You can introduce them to the movie and get them a copy of Warcraft and get them a free month to play with you. So I mean, it's a win-win-win situation. And if you log in between May 25th and August 1st, if you just log into WoW, you don't have to go see the movie, you don't have to do anything. If you just log in, you get King Lane's sword and shield, Gul'dan's staff, and Duratan's axe as transmog in the game. So just basically log in between those 4 months and you get it.
That's really exciting because I like the transmog stuff, so I will probably be using those things.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and post that link real quick so you guys can get your tickets. And this new next thing sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, so there is now an official cookbook for World of Warcraft. It will be available on October 18th. And according to Amazon, and it's only $21 on Amazon. Yeah, I'm totally gonna get it, and I'm totally gonna make the stuff that's in the cookbook and put it on my fitness blog because I have one called World of Wavecraft, where I make up recipes and stuff. So I will probably do that because that just sounds like fun. And I definitely want this cookbook.
I definitely see the sticky bun on there. Like the first thing you see in the link is the sticky bun. So basically, Here's the Storm had a bunch of news this week, but we're just going to go ahead and talk about what everyone's mind is on. Chromie was released, the first gnome in Heroes of the Storm, the first dragon in Heroes of the Storm, and she is, from what I haven't really played her yet, but she looks overpowered for the most part. She's got a lot of cool abilities, and I'm not really going to go into it yet. If y'all want to check it out, y'all can go look at the patch notes and everything. It's going to be, I mean, it's worth looking at. She's really interested. They're also changing the matchmaking system.
Yes.
And it's finally getting updated, like I said earlier, to where they're going to have the ladder, the diamond, the master, the grandmaster, etc. So we're finally getting all that and getting out of the damn preseason for it.
Yeah, I'm so glad they're fixing the matchmaking system, because the way they set it up was, even if you were level 40, you were matched with other people that were level 40. However, there are still tiers within level 40, so you could be a noob at level 40.
Tiers.
Or you could be, tiers.
Tiers.
So you would get matched with, like, all of these people, and, like, sometimes you'd be carrying the team, sometimes the team would be carrying you. Like, it wasn't a proper matchmaking system. They were trying to basically even out the teams mathematically.
Guys, my MMR was horrible. It got to a point where it was literally, and I'm not joking, and you guys are going to make fun of me, it was literally negative 22.
I'm not even at level 40 yet. I'm still at, like, level 18. That's how little I play heroes.
You can still check your MMR. I bet your MMR is better than mine. But basically, we're going to go ahead and talk about our hero of the week, which is Reinhardt Wilhelm. Basically, he's an older gentleman that stands for justice above all else. He asks for no rewards for the good deeds he does, and only that the people live happily, and maybe ask for a little bit of currywurst. Basically, if you read the comic, you'll understand what the currywurst joke is about. Throughout the entire comic, he's asking for currywurst.
I find that hilarious. But he kind of, justice above all else, that kind of sounds like a paladin in Dungeons and Dragons to me.
He essentially is a paladin. He's an older gentleman that was forced into retirement, but he lives by older... Hey, I'll just go ahead and read what I wrote about him. He's an older gentleman, 61. He was forced into retirement when Overwatch started to fall, unable to do anything for his beloved Overwatch, and he was only able to watch it fall into ruin while he traveled the European countryside, trying to help those who were in need after Overwatch finally disbanded. Before Overwatch recruited him and his Crusader armor, which is massive by all standards and looks physically impossible for anybody to wear.
It's huge.
He was a highly decorated German soldier, living by the knightly codes of valor, justice, and courage. He gladly joined Overwatch to help put an end to the Omnic crisis. He was Overwatch's biggest fan and critic, backing them when he knew they were standing for everything good and chastising them when their actions were bad. He served into his late 50s before being forced into retirement, and that's, of course, when Blackwatch started to sabotage Overwatch in the public eye, and everything just started to fall for Overwatch, and there was nothing at that time that he could. Do you want to go ahead and go over his abilities with me, Nymph?
Yeah, Blackwatch it was the thing that Reaper and his crew essentially started, correct?
They didn't really start it. It wasn't like a bad thing when it first started. It's a splinter cell of Overwatch that was to do with all of the black ops things that they didn't want to be in the public eye. So like kidnappings or assassinations or something of public figures that were, like, say, dictators or something of that nature. I'm not sure if that went that far, but you get what I mean. Things that they wanted not in the public eye.
So Reinhardt's abilities.
Basically, the first ability is Rocket Hammer. You left click to swing his massive hammer, and it does moderate damage, which it feels like it should just one-shot everybody, but then again, that would be overpowered, I guess. But he's a strictly melee, except for one ability, essentially.
This is fire. Fire strike.
Yeah, his fire strike. It sends a projectile forward with the swing of his hammer, and it does also moderate damage. It can devastate a tracer if it hits a tracer in the face. His barrier field is 2,000 HP. It's a force field that he puts up in front of him that prevents any attacking from the forward. Only certain attacks can go through it. Melee attacks can go through it, and you can just basically walk around it and attack him.
Yeah, the shield is basically fight. It's key when fighting with Reinhardt. He is literally there to take damage for you, which is why he doesn't do a lot of damage because he is, for all intents and purposes, he is a tanky tank. Like that is his job. That's all he's supposed to do. So when when you are with a Reinhardt, your best bet is to stay behind that shield and to shoot from behind Reinhardt. I have witnessed some of the best plays in game when his shields are up. Like freaking Zenyatta and his stupid orbs. Like I've been killed so many times and that bastard's standing behind Reinhardt the whole time.
Not to mention the OP combo of Bastion Reinhardt.
Oh god, Bastion Reinhardt and then McCree and his Deadeye and Reinhardt. Like, holy crap, man, for real. So, the barrier shield, as you said before, has 2,000 HP. But when it takes damage, it will immediately start regenerating after the damage is done. So you don't have to worry about trying to fix it or anything like that. There is a 5-second cooldown after it's been destroyed. When the shield is up, it does slow Reinhardt, and you go into a third-person viewpoint, and you cannot attack when your shield is up. And I will say, it takes a little getting used to going back and forth between third person and first person, because it's a little jarring, because it's, like, immediate when you let go of that shield. It's like, oh crap, I have to start swinging. The shield will block almost everything, including D.Va's self-destruct, which is really, really important, because that self-destruct destroys everything, including D.Va herself, if she's not smart. So, as you said, melee attacks will go through it. Channeled weapons such as his Winston's Tesla's gun, and all of Symmetra's attacks go through the shield, except for the turrets. They're the one thing that won't go through. But if Symmetra herself is firing at you, you're gonna get hit. And that's actually probably one of his weakest things are Symmetra's orbs. And then, of course, other Reinhardt fire strikes will go through the shield.
His next ability would be Charge. That is by far his strongest attack. If he pins you with his Charge, well, basically his Charge is exactly what it sounds like. You launch forward by boosting with the rocket on your back, and you put your hammer in front of you and pin anybody that gets in your way. And if you hit them against a wall or even just the side of anything, like, I've been pinned as Bastion to the side of a car when I was on top of the car and he just hit the car, and essentially that counted as a kill against me. That ability is very strong, and if he is shielding walking towards you, just get ready for him to charge you, because that's probably what he's going to do. There are ways to stop it, and I'll go ahead and let Neff go ahead and explain all that.
So this particular ability I wouldn't recommend using too often because one, it has a long recharge, so it's easy to waste, and then you can see a better opportunity to use it, so use it sparingly. And two, if there's nothing in the way, you will go forever and you can't cancel it. So if you pop it and you're flying until you're either flying until you run into something, you're charging until you run into something, you're charging until it finally runs out, or you fall off the map. And that happens a lot. You can move. slightly while charging using your strafing keys, which are the A and D keys, but your mobility is really limited. You can't go around rocks, you can't go around, hallways and stuff. Like you're limited to what you can do when you're moving.
You do
And
have slight range of motion when you are charging. You want to watch out though. If you're trying to like do some kind of corner magic where you're gonna go around the corner and surprise them, it's not gonna work out in your favor half the time.
Hold on a second, sorry. So so the charge, if you do catch someone and pin them, will most likely kill them unless it's another tank. Then it'll just daze them. I mean, they take damage, obviously, but they'll be dazed for a few seconds, and you can take a few swings at them to finish them off. But always make sure that you kill someone when you pin them, because I saw somebody pin a Reaper, and the Reaper didn't get killed. And he just kept walking off, and I'm sitting there reloading as McCree, and then he popped his ult, and then I died.
Yeah, his charge does has a damage damage cap. It's not essential. It's not a one hit kill. So if you're hitting someone with a large health pool, it's not gonna automatically strike down anybody, especially if you're going up against Roadhog or even Diva or somebody like that. And there are glancing blows. So if you do hit a target, if you hit them just by the side of them, it's not always going to catch them. Sometimes it'll just knock them out of the way, which can be used to your favor in some ways. Like basically, you can knock somebody into a pit on accident when you're trying to pin them. Say I think it's on the Nubani map. No, not the Nubani. Ilios, yeah, Ilios map. It does have a lot of useful ability, useful tactical situations where if you want to get to their back line, say they've got a for whatever reason their Widowmaker is just on the ground and they might not have the Widowmaker might not have their zip line to where they can get up to the higher area, or there might not be a higher area that they can get to reach. You can just go ahead and aim for them. Maybe you'll get the pin off, and if you don't get the pin off, you can just swing your hammer and hit them.
Right. I think it's about 50 hit points they take if they're grazed by his charge.
I'm not sure. I wasn't able to find anything specific on
that. But yeah, that's all I got for the charge. For now.
His ultimate is pretty devastating, and it could change the game for you. Especially,
you're skipping the fire strike.
We already went over it.
Did we officially go over the fire strike? Okay. Well, I didn't say my fire strike stuff. Basically, the fire strike is really cool ranged ability, and it does 100 damage. And the trick to using fire strike is you have to aim with anything, but it's not automatic. Like I thought it was one of those where you just put the camera in a general direction and it will just go forever like the charge does. No, you have to actually move the camera. So if you're standing there and you want to like aim at a Pharah, you have to actually look up and it'll go as high up as your camera will go. So fire strike is really useful when she's in the air too. It does, a decent amount of damage, but it's not going to be your main thing that you use because your job is to defend.
It's also really good against Pharah because Pharah's got a lot of vertical movement. She doesn't have so much horizontal movement. Mm-hmm. So if she's going up, since it is a swath, basically, like an up and down kind of slanted strike, it can be used to hit a Pharah pretty easily. I mean, it's still going to be hard to hit that skill shot, but if you're good with the skill shot, it is a real slow moving for such a powerful attack, which is kind of weird. Like, it's not an instant hit, but it can be really devastating, especially against a Pharah or somebody that's in mid-air and mid-jump or mid-fall, or someone that you just got to basically do a lot of the same things that you would do with any hero that's based around skill strikes. Say that like it's kind of like a lob, like Hanzo. Hanzo kind of his basic attacks are skill shots, because just because you're aiming at a specific spot doesn't mean you're going to hit that specific spot. You have to count for follow the arrow, or just basically the basic arc or anything, depending on how close or far away they are.
Right.
So you have to think of it that way. Going on to his ultimate, which is Earth Shatter, it can turn a match around you, especially on a skill point. I mean, not a skill point, a cap point. If they're all grouped up, you can just hit your ultimate and they'll be all on the ground. And if somebody else has their ult up, or you can just run in with your hammer and do massive amounts of damage just whenever, because they're all going to be stunned, they're all going to be on the ground, and they take a slight amount of damage. So I mean, it is very, very useful.
Yeah, it's a great ultimate, and it is really key to make sure that you're in a good spot. One of my favorite things to do with him is to charge in when there's a group, because there will always be moments where they're grouped together. And if you have a McCree and a Mei, or a McCree and or a Mei, and your ults are up, charge in there, you pop your ult, knock them down, they're stunned for about 2.5 seconds. That gives McCree enough time to do his Deadeye, or Mei to do her Blizzard. And then you can come in and everyone can just have at it. So it is such a fun ult to use with other people's ults.
Yeah, it's a very good ult. It's a wombo combo. It's one of the things that sets up with, you can use the setup with anybody, just about anybody. This ult can be used with as a combo. It's hard to find somebody that can't be good with this combo. So when you're going with Reinhardt, even if you're not going with Reinhardt, you're going to see a Reinhardt in just about every single match, because he is a very versatile, useful character. He can be used in just about any situation, whether you're defending or attacking. Just the fact that his shield, even though no matter how slow it is mobile, it is just extremely powerful. And you're going to try and chew through his shield, especially if you're ranged, or if you're some kind of assassin from far off. You're not going to be able to do much except for pick off the people who don't pay attention to his shield, or pay attention to you and walk through his shield, or off to the side. Now, sometimes you are going to get the bad Reinhardts that like to just strafe, or when you're playing as Reinhardt, you want to go forward and try and keep your shield as stable and level as you can, unless you're getting flanked. That's about the only time you have an excuse to move around or turn.
Yeah.
If you're going...
Oh, definitely. Your job as Reinhardt is not to damage. It's to protect the damagers. And you have to get in that mindset when playing Reinhardt. Like, that's all your job is.
Mm-hmm. He's a good hero, but he's with any hero, you have to have some kind of finesse to play him, and you have to understand your place. You're not going to play Reinhardt to get play of the game. You're not going to play Reinhardt to do the most damage, to kill the most people. You're going to play Reinhardt so you can change the tide, so that you can defend your allies against your enemy's oncoming abilities. It's basically essentially the same as a D.Va's alternate ability, where she blocks all incoming damage, except to the nth degree, because it can protect against more abilities, and it lasts a whole lot longer. Yeah. Now Reinhardt has a lot of interesting voice lines. He, of course, has the very thick, almost too much of a German accent, like that real fake German accent. But I mean, it's funny. It works. You're not playing this game for ethnic accuracy. Yeah. Yeah, you're not coming here for the perfect accents, because you're not going to get them. I mean, they do a pretty good job, but it's kind of hilarious, some of the things he says. Like he has phrases like German engineering or crusading machine, or like he'll just describe himself. And he has a lot of conversations with other characters. Like for instance, he'll have a conversation with Lucio talking about different types of music that he likes. He likes classical music. Lucio likes dubstep, drum and bass, and stuff of that nature. So.
It's really funny.
Yeah, May's accent, like Tori was saying, is ridiculous. Like you can't even place it half the time. You're like, what is going on?
Well,
And
that's
Tracer's
because.
accent is obnoxious to half the British people I know.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh god. Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And if you were at BlizzCon when that was announced and you were British, even if you weren't British, I feel for you because that was said every 5 seconds on the floor. So he has 2 achievements based. Well, we'll do the hero highlight intros. He has 3 highlight intros, which is the basic amount for all heroes. All heroes right now have 3 highlight intros. He has charge, where he charges in and kind of stops at the last moment while pinned against a wall or whatever. And he has hammer down, where he swings his hammer down and zooms in on his face and shows him. And he has more stretching required, where he's just doing stretches and basic highlight intro stuff. Not so much of the funniest highlight intros I've seen, but they're still pretty good. Like I said before, I'm really hoping that we do get a lot more highlight intros. They're very cool and very interesting, and I do like that little finesse that they add. Again, you're never going to see these highlight intros unless they somehow get played in the game, which is possible with his ultimate and swinging his hammer, but it's not going to be very often.
Yeah.
He's got 2 achievements like everybody else does as well that are based just around him. He's got I Am Your Shield, which is blocking 8,000 damage with Reinhardt's barrier field without dying in quick match. So it means your shield comes and goes 4 times before you actually die, which is ridiculous. You get a little pixel spray for that. And you have Storm, Earth, and Fire, which is land Reinhardt's Fire Strike and Charge after an Earth Shatter stun, which is basically your wombo combo. You do your Earth Shatter to stun them to make them hit the ground, and then you do your Fire Strike, and then you would charge afterwards after they're all softened up.
Holy
and for that,
crap.
you get a cute spray.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to take turns going over the useful strategies that we found online for him. We're not going to go through all of them exactly because we're kind of running low on time, but we're just going to hit up some of the more important ones. I'll start with Soldier 76, and then we'll have Hanzo with Nymph. Soldier 76, basically, he's got his running around abilities. Like, he's got a permanent sprint, so he's basically Call of Duty man, the game, the hero in Overwatch. He's got his machine gun and his rockets. So he's virtually useless against Reinhardt because he has no way to get around him exactly, aside from just running up on him or jumping him at the last second. So you can pin him pretty easily because he's always going to try and strafe. So if you can judge his strafe and where he's going to be, you can charge and hit him exactly. You can basically push Soldier back off of the point because there's not much he can do about you.
Right. Hanzo is pretty weak with Reinhardt for the same reason that none of his stuff goes through Reinhardt's shield except for Dragon Strike, which is his ultimate. So,
or if you can land a very, very lucky multi-strike.
You gotta aim that multi-strike essentially behind him in order to even get a chance to hit him. So Hanzo is weak as far as fighting him. However, because Hanzo is a sniper, you're never really gonna face Hanzo in melee. But on those rare occasions that you do face Hanzo, Reinhardt will probably always win. But yeah, I mean, it's not really.
Yeah, he's a pretty good Hanzo. Like most characters, you just got to be careful. It I don't know. Used to when I first played Hanzo in the beta, it I mean not the beta, but back at BlizzCon. For one thing, I could notice that I could if I hit the dead center of a shield where the actual physical part of it is, where you see that little physical part, that little
Oh yeah,
cross.
the
I
cross.
remember like back in the beginning, I could basically 3-shot his shield, which I don't know where that went. I don't know why that went away, or if that was just like his shield didn't have that much health back then. But it was really helpful. We'll just go ahead and basically talk about how Farah and McCree is useful against him.
Yeah. So, well, really quick, Torbjorn. You can actually charge his turret, and it'll take out a level 1 turret. And it will stop you in the middle of your charge. So if Torbjorn happens to have his turret on the end of a map, you'll stop and won't go over the edge, which is really, really nice to know. If it's a level 2, it'll take it to about half damage, and then you can swing and get rid of it. But if Molten Core is up, Reinhardt is really vulnerable to Molten Core, even with the shield, because it just does so much damage. It'll take the shield out really quickly. Farah is just... Farah's a little bitch. Let's be real here. Because she flies in game, she's just a little bitch. He can... The nice thing about his shield is it does actually stop her rockets and even her ult. However, because her ult is the rocket barrage, it can also take out the shield quickly. So essentially, the shield is good to help people get out of range of her rocket barrage.
Mm-hmm. And you can get a lucky rocket that can go around it sometimes, and like since it's a rocket and it does explosive damage, splash damage can hit you from behind and do a little bit of damage. So you do want to be careful with Farah, because just basically she can melt your shield. There's very few heroes that can melt your shield, like Bastion can melt your shield pretty easily. So you just want to be careful. McCree, like we stated last week, he's actually pretty good against Bastion. I mean, against Reinhardt, because he can roll behind the shield and do a quick fanfire and not one-off kill Reinhardt, but take a lot of damage off of him. And then if you're able to just keep strafing around him and avoid his abilities, which is relatively hard because McCree doesn't have that much mobility, you can take him down pretty easily if you're careful. There are just a lot of things that can be used against Reinhardt, but a lot of things he's good against. We're kind of running low on time, so we're just going to go ahead and get out of here. This has been the Omnic Fallout, a podcast about Overwatch and other Blizzard games. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at theomnicfallout@gmail.com. You can follow UniEdge at Twitter, on Twitter at Zov, which is XAUVE, or Nymphadora at Gamer Nymphadora, which I'll go ahead and link that in the chat, which is Gamer and then NYMPHODORA.
Our Twitter handles are actually underneath our faces on the podcast.
Oh, I forgot about that.
If you'd like to donate to us, you can use the links below on this channel to donate, or you can go to our Patreon page, which is my personal Patreon page right now, just because we don't have one set up specifically for the podcast. But all donations will go to the podcast, and we appreciate everything. Copy and paste. Whoops. My computer's not copying and pasting.
It's okay.
But all your donations will specifically go to our podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next episode, which will be next Thursday, right here. So, and we will be discussing Zenyatta. I believe that was the third comic that came out. No, that's the fourth comic. Which is the
That's the
third
fourth
comic?
comic. Oof. We'll announce who we're going to be doing in the Twitter. So if you keep an eye on it, and we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, we will be discussing the third comic, and we will actually probably have more fun stuff to talk about since the game will have been launched. So
Yeah, but it'll actually be 2 days out by then, right? I believe so.
yeah, at least 2 days, if not 3, depending on whether or not they actually do it early.
Yeah, we'll have to see what's going on there. There's so much speculation and then so many announcements that are strange, and I don't know. We'll figure it out and when it happens.
So I will see
All right.
you guys later.
Have a good one.